Hello, we are live with Tivon Pennicott tonight. Hey, Tivon, I'm really happy to have you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, so we are trying new things today. We are trying to go live also on Instagram. So I will launch the live on Instagram, see if it works. So in the meantime, people can arrive. Okay, so they say they have some troubles with the live. Okay, that's not good. Oh, yeah, it's good now. So we are live on Instagram. I have to turn my... Okay, I'm here.
I see it.
Okay, nice. Can you make the request so I had you?
Yeah. Oh my
gosh. Yeah, the joy of the live.
Yeah. Let's see.
So, oh yeah, we already have a lot of people on Instagram. Hi, everyone. Hey, I see you now, Tivon. Hi.
Hi.
Right. So now I'm hearing you on your phone. So maybe you can just put the volume low on your phone, and then perfect.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, all around the world, all around the social media. We are happy to be here with Tivon. How are you today, Tivon?
I feel good. I feel great. I feel like
Did you get your celery juice this morning?
I did.
Nice.
I wanted to show everybody, but I was like, never mind.
Yeah, I was wondering if you would have a glass of celery juice. I should try it. I did not try it yet, but I hear you.
Yeah. That's one of those things, man. I have to have it every morning. It's like my morning coffee. But I don't drink coffee. I drink celery juice.
Yeah, I should do that. I quit coffee a few months ago, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on tea now. Yeah.
Okay. Good. How does it feel?
It's better than coffee. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Ooh, absolutely. No, it's one of those things where once you discover it, how it works, and then it's kind of just changes your whole perspective on it because it sounds kind of like celery juice. What? That's like kind of weird, right?
yeah.
But when it works, it's just like it's undeniable. It's like, and today's celery juice that I drank, sometimes it gets a little bitter, so it's just like, oh my gosh, this tastes horrible. Depends on which one you get, but still after that, I feel like just it calms your nerves. Any sort of anxiety that anybody's having, it just kind of keeps you level. So that's why I wrote a song about it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell us more about that song?
Yeah. So
Wait a minute. It seems that some people say that your volume is really low. So I don't know if you can speak louder or just put your sound a little louder too.
Let's see.
Or maybe I can edit mic settings.
Is this better?
People, is it better? Do you hear Tivon now? I think no.
Hello. Okay, so I turned the mic volume up.
Yeah, I put you on the highest I could, max I could do. So on my side, I think there is nothing more I can do right here. People say you are fine on Facebook, so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's YouTube issue. I don't know. That's strange.
Okay.
People from YouTube go on Facebook.
Right. Okay. I wonder if Instagram is cool. Might be. Anyway.
Okay, so what about the celery juice?
Yeah. So, Celery Juice. When I wrote that, I actually wrote that probably 3 years before I discovered Celery Juice. I wrote it as a song that is activating. It's supposed to be, activating like the cells in your body and just calming your nerves, putting you in a mood that's relaxing and with a steady, consistent, comfortable groove. That's what the point was when I wrote that. It's a samba. It's like a samba that's really slowed down, and I just wanted to kind of put people in a certain atmosphere. So I had that just on the back burner. But whenever I discovered celery juice, it basically the physical effects of the celery juice, transferred to the mental effects of you just being calm and relaxed and and healing in general. So it was untitled for a long time. So I think that it was perfect that I was able to name it and record it. So Celery Juice that's what it is. Philip Dizak played a beautiful solo on there, and he was just right in there, right in there. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay. So yeah, especially that single is conveying a very positive message, promoting self-care and healthy health. So is it your secret to staying strong and hopeful during those difficult times?
Absolutely. Well, I didn't realize that it would be so relevant to these times after I wrote it and even when I named it. But personally, it definitely got me through the first part of the pandemic, and even now. I don't know. A lot of people around me, close to me, know that I got really sick in March. Um, it was pretty. It was the sickest I've ever been in my life. I don't know for sure if it was COVID because I never went and got tested, but I'm pretty sure it was because of how the symptoms and how intense it was. And there were times when I wanted to, I was gonna check myself in the hospital, just getting 30 minutes of sleep a night, and just not knowing what to do. But before that time, I was always going out to get my celery juice. I would go to a store and they would make it for me. So after like a month of just feeling horrible and desperate, I tried to order. I ordered a juicer, and it took about 2 weeks to get there, and I was doing what I could. But once it got there, I started juicing my own celery juice, and I tell you what, man, once that once I started doing that, within a week, all these symptoms just got cut in half. You know, I don't know if you heard they call it the long haulers, where if you have COVID, some people uh, they get better really quickly, but then others it takes like a good amount of time. Um, it took me until September to feel 100% again.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was like 6 months of of torture. But like I said, the celery juice, I really believe in my heart, as crazy as it sounds, that prevented me from having to go to the hospital. You know, so it all worked out. It just reduces inflammation all throughout the body, and it also gives you a sense of comfort and calms your nerves. So any sort of anxiety connected with the physical symptoms, it's just a no brainer. And so that made the song mean even more to me, because in April I was gonna try to release the album in April, but of course the COVID happened. But after all this happened, I was gonna wait till next year to release it. But I felt like, since it was so impactful for me, just to get it out to the people, because um, it's the concept of the whole record is about it's like celery juice. It's supposed to be activating good feels, good vibes, and putting you in a nostalgic mood, maybe forgetting about what's going on for just a split second while you're just taking in the sounds of the orchestra and all that.
Yeah, should we listen to a small part of the song, or do you want to play it, or?
Um, I mean, yeah, I could play it. It's more of a groove thing. Let's listen to it. We could listen to like just
Okay.
a minute of it.
Yeah, I put it. Okay. Do you hear it? Yeah. So people won't hear it on Instagram. I'm sorry about that.
Maybe I'll do this.
Yeah, so I think the echo was because Tivon was putting the song on Instagram. Yeah.
Sorry, I try to get people on Instagram hearing it. But yeah, you can listen to the rest of it to, you know.
Yeah, you can buy the album, or listening to it on streaming station, or. Yeah.
Celery.
Nice. We have a Raoul is asking, what were your influences for the orchestration?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, so when I was writing this, I had an idea to bring back the feeling, the old feeling of the Nat King Cole records. I have a lot of big influences from him, and obviously, if you listen to a lot of his old standards, like the standards that he was doing, he had some amazing orchestration behind him. And that the person that was doing that was Nelson Riddle, and Nelson Riddle had a reputation of just orchestrating for a lot of different artists. Then Frank Sinatra, obviously, also, and Nat King Cole, and so many more people. And he could just do it so quickly. It was also always amazing. So that was a big inspiration for me too, because the way that you hear that, it also the way that it was recorded. Back then it was analog, on tape, and it was done purist style, all in one room, and it had the vocals up in front. So anytime that I needed to just sit back and relax, I put that on. It gave you such nostalgic feelings, and I wanted to recreate that, but with my own compositions. And so I just set out to do that with by emulating that feeling, the spirit that Nelson Riddle had with Sinatra and Nat King Cole and all those.
Okay, so and it's a big jump to go from being just a saxophone player to like orchestrating and conducting a whole orchestra. So what what motivated to do it? What was the reason behind all of that?
Yeah, the reason was, as you know, saxophone is just one instrument, and I have so many sounds and textures and colors in my head as far as harmony and feeling, to convey feeling. And I, I knew that I wanted it to be raw but thorough, all at the same time. And I can't do that with just saxophone. So for the longest time, I've wanted to expand, and I've had these sounds in my head for a long time, and I continue to. I'm gonna continue to do it more. when I play my saxophone, I'm trying to capture a lot of these harmonies and sounds as if it was like an orchestration, and but I can't achieve it all the time because I can only play one note at a time. So it was a it was a big endeavor that I set out to do. But once I started, I was it's like man, it was there all along. It was there all along. So I just followed the sounds in my head.
So, was it easy, or did you have to learn something on the go?
I did. I did have to learn. At first, I was like preparing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this orchestration. I got to learn how to do this. So I got a book of this book that they gave me in college. I'm trying to remember the name of the book. Um, I can't even remember the name of the book, but it's a big, huge orchestration book, very reputable book. I wish I knew the name, but I started to read that and to learn the concepts and the vocabulary of what to use, how to communicate with the orchestras and the setup and how to voice things and all the harmony and things. And I was reading it and it was cool, but I realized that it was kind of stifling my creativity. It was getting to the point where I was being too academic, and so after like reading about maybe a couple chapters of it, I just kind of abandoned the book and just went off of my instincts. Uh, and it's amazing. Once you know the specific, just the basic concepts, which is like, okay, you have five voices. You know, usually you have two violins, a viola, cello, and a double bass. Um, and then what happens is you basically write for five strings, and within that, you have the options of giving like splitting the violin one up in two parts, or with each instrument you could do that with second violin or viola or cello or bass. So you can create as dense of a sound as you want, but your basics are five voices. And so when I just understood that, I knew that it just comes down to timbre and texture and the harmony and the melodies, you know, interacting with each other, so that you can, so I can create what's the feeling that was in my head. Yeah.
Okay. And why did you decide to record on the church?
At the church,
Yeah.
yeah, the church is in upstate New York. My friend and I were looking for um, a big space because, again, like I said, I was trying to find a big open space that had great acoustics. So I looked at a few places within New York City, but thankfully I came across this church online, and it not only were the acoustics amazing, but it was just beautiful interior too. And when I figured that out, I booked it as soon as I could. The main reasons were the high ceilings and a huge space for acoustics, and the natural reverb of the room. I had some difficulties during recording because if you hear on the album, there are some tracks where the saxophone just sounds different. The drums sound different when it plays the rim shot. It's like echo, like you know. It's not as like tight, but we sacrificed that because of we wanted the orchestra sound to be elite, you know. And when we did that, so whenever the orchestra plays on its own, that's the reason why it sounds like that is because I had 26 strings, and then on top of that I had sorry, it's just this is New York sirens here.
Yeah.
um, so I had 26 strings, so the more you have, the more luxurious the sound feels, and also the space, the high ceilings, and the reverb gives it this old school sound, old school string sound. So that's why I chose that church. Yeah, it worked out. Absolutely.
Okay. And you also recorded the Gregory Porter's new album like recently. So how did you manage both? Because it was almost at the around the same time, no?
Yeah, that's true. Um, Back when before COVID, Gregory Gregory's band was always on the road, pretty much at least 9 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we traveled to Paris and we did a lot of the recording there. We took like 10 days in the studio, and Pauline, I appreciate you. She came through with my Syos soprano mouthpiece. She was there. All the solos on Gregory Porter's soprano solos is from with a Syos mouthpiece that I played for the first time that day. It's like,
Yeah, it was crazy. Like the saxophone was new, the mouthpiece was new, like everything was
yeah,
new, and
yeah,
yeah, you can't figure that when you listen to the album. But yeah, it was
yeah,
quite a story.
yeah. It was, you came through, and I really appreciate that. And but that's how I work, man. I can't, if I'm too prepared, then it just things seem stagnant. It's when I'm reactive, when I have to depend on my instincts. That's when I feel like magic usually happens around me, and so I don't want to be too prepared. That's come back to bite me a few times, but I would say it's been more positive than negative. But in that case, having you come and give me that mouthpiece and just get a soprano, I made it work, and I'm happy how it came out. But so we were on the road, Paris, but whenever we did come back home, if I had at least a week or 2 weeks, I was preparing way in advance. I was contacting people on the road and saying, "I'll be back at this time. Are you available to record here and there, there, there?" So I just fit in different sessions in between the times that I was home, and it was a combination of two studios. The church was one for the big orchestra, and then I did the quartet in Brooklyn, and kind of did like a fusion of the two. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
So how long did it take to record everything?
Um, you know what? We started recording um, in 2000. I remember we went to the studio for the first time at the end of 2018. That
Okay.
was the quartet, and that was before I wanted to. I didn't know I wanted to put strings on the record. It was just gonna
Mm-hmm.
be a cordless quartet album. Um, so after we recorded a couple songs, which you probably hear as you hear on the album, some don't have strings at all until like maybe like the end or maybe like an intro where we put it in. Um, but it wasn't until 2019 is where I started getting this overwhelming feeling of all these sounds in my head, and I was like, man, community, coming together to heal as one, and I just felt those sounds had to come out, and I couldn't wait till the next one. So I just had this idea to keep everything chordless, right? If you think about it, all the entire harmony is all created by one note per individual, right? So there's nobody playing two notes at the same. There's no guitar. There's no piano, harp, or anything like that. Each person is responsible for their note, which creates this whole entire you know sound that's very unique. I feel, and I'm just glad that I had the opportunity to do that because you know all these people were so gracious to work with me. Mhm.
So you actually, so for this same album, you had to switch mouthpiece because on 2018 you didn't have your Syos mouthpiece. So
Right.
how did it go? What did you feel about that?
Um. Well, the way I feel about mouthpieces. Let me tell you first of all. Um, no matter what mouthpiece you use, you will eventually get to what your sound is. You know, it doesn't matter, which one you get. But the point about the mouthpieces is, can you, whatever you choose, how do you feel? Do you feel comfortable with it? So I could be playing on, some other mouthpiece, and to other people will sound like, oh wow, this he sounds like him. Sounds maybe a little brighter. I can't really tell, but that doesn't mean that I feel comfortable. In my head, I'm just like, it's so hard to get this
Yeah.
altissimo out. So this feels so stuffy at the bottom. So I had a good mouthpiece, for that before I discovered Pauline, and she came and showed me the the gems, all the gems, and gave me all the beautiful options. Um, so I made it work then. Um, but once I switched to the Syos mouthpieces, um, obviously you have the ability to work with us, to every saxophonist, to make us as comfortable as possible. So that's the beauty of the Syos mouthpieces, is that you can adjust the smallest thing, just to make me feel a little better. You're like, okay, try this. Oh, what are you thinking? Okay, try this. And then eventually you can just get the perfect feel, the perfect sound. And as we grow as musicians, our sound might change. So with that, I could still also change it a little bit if I needed to. But that's just the beauty of it. And so the sound is not going to be crazily different, um, but I feel much more comfortable with the Syos mouthpiece.
Yeah, that's why we are here now, to
Oh
make you
yeah,
comfortable.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then obviously the colors, the options. You know, it's just like bam, just hit you in the face, different colors, and ooh.
Why did you choose the blue today?
Um, blue. Today I just pulled it out. I didn't think too much today.
Yeah, it's the same that my sweatshirt actually.
Oh yeah, see. Mm-hmm. I just
Yeah,
pulled
we
it
are
out.
well coordinated.
Yeah. If I were to think about how I was feeling, I would probably be on this one today if I was actually putting how I felt. But whatever.
Okay. So we have a question on Instagram. What are the best ways to practice incorporating orchestration influences on the horn? I can put it here. And express colors and texture through playing.
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying before, you don't really, as a saxophonist, you don't really have the luxury of playing more than one note at a time, unless you. I've been trying. Check this out. I've been trying. But that's as far as you can really go. And then you have the more harsh sounds as well. that's as far as you can go. And I cannot. I'm working on it, trying to get as specific as I can. So I just try to do it one note at a time and try to just create the sheets of sounds. You know, it's just like. Just try to get the sounds by just playing as much of a harmony as possible. That's one way. Um, and also being limited to the notes that you choose. So when writing and orchestrating, I think one of the rules in harmony is like, okay, you absolutely need your root, your third, and your fifth, and your seventh, and your ninth. It's like depending on how far you go. But what I discovered in orchestration is that you don't necessarily have to have every one of those intervals. So instead of having like E7, instead of going sometimes with you only have four voices, you skip the fifth and you just go and that still gives you that sound that you need. And then you put the last note on it. So when I'm playing, I'll just outline a lot of the voicings, a lot of the chords. When I do that, that's kind of how I can incorporate all of that together. Arpeggiated sounds mixed with the scales that go with that, and you have also a chance to break the rules too. Sometimes a voicing or a sound might not be able to be explained theoretically, but the sound is just undeniable that you trust the sound that comes. So like you'll have like E flat with an F major 7 on top, you know? It's not supposed to work. E flat in the bass with F major 7. It's not supposed to work because that E and E, F, E, E flat are clashing. But if it's a passing chord or if it's a passing texture or if it's just there, every sound is valid. Every mood is valid. It's just on how you set it up and how you get in there, and where you put it. So that's why I was saying earlier I was getting kind of bound by the orchestration rules too academic. Yep.
We have another question on Instagram. Tips for keeping chops together even life gets too hectic to shed for a while daily. That's
Yeah.
a good question too.
No, it's a great question because you've tapped into my insecurity. Because yeah, no, that's real because I want to play more. I want to practice more. Um, so that's why it's important to do all the work early. You know, when you first like that's why those early years, if you go to college and you have tons of time to be in the practice room, or if you're not in college and you're just playing, you're putting in those hours. Those hours are going to hold you for your life, you know. And so, especially during this pandemic, we haven't been able to play, and I was so sick I hadn't played. But I went to Smalls and I played with Ari for the first time. I think in July. I wasn't 100% still. It was still messing with me, but it was crazy because I forgot. I was like, oh right, I play saxophone. Because you go for so long, you don't even play. You feel you're like, okay, I'm just a human being. I'm a man. I'm here, but you don't associate yourself as a musician until you get back into the on stage, and it was all there. It was not. It wasn't all there, but it was there enough for me to express myself, and it's got to put the time in on the early years to so that it holds true later. Um, but the advice about now is just gotta figure out a routine of just basic things. You don't have to push yourself, but just maintenance with your sound and with your arpeggios and scales, and just keeping your fingers, you know, moving. I mean, that's all I could say. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. We have a question from Jack. He asked for explanation about the multiphonics you did earlier.
Oh, well, I went in my exploration with trying to find harmonies on my own. I would just do different combinations of fingerings. And I would sit down and just try different things until I found the sound that worked. And I've tried to show other saxophonists what I'm doing, but since I have a con, um, a lot of it doesn't necessarily translate.
Mm.
You know, it's like because you have these little openings here, and it changes. It just changes what you can. Where's the other one? It's just in different places, it's different openings. So you can try, but I just try different fingering. So one, just if you mess around with just playing E flat, and then along with one of the palm keys, then you could start getting to some of those sounds. So just play like a cover E flat, no octave key, and then you just start messing around with the palm keys with those pressed down. So you get that's the basic foundation. So if I gave you exact fingerings, it depend. I'm not sure what horn you have, but you definitely can get started that way. Give you these sounds. Oh, and those are yeah. Try playing fingerings and just lifting up notes that wouldn't be there and just explore. But I have a whole chart and wrote it down for specifically to this con. And what's crazy is also this con and other cons are still different. I don't know why, but it's still different. Maybe because I have a Busher neck with a con saxophone. You know, maybe because of that hybrid, it messes it up. And also, the neck is kind of extended here. So maybe that does a lot of changes it. So I have a whole different system. It just takes a lot of the exploration for it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We should write an article about the acoustics of the multiphonics on the blog, because a lot of people are asking about that. I could make the
Okay.
explanation, but maybe it would be too long. Maybe
Okay.
next time. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a question from Sarah. She asked, how do you practice hitting jazz changes and playing over jazz standards?
Yeah. You have to be two steps ahead. The farther ahead you are, the better it will be. So it's just kind of like having a speech ready. Well, like art, no, when we're talking in general, we have the thought, and then when we speak, we kind of know we're kind of a couple steps ahead of what we want to say. And if it gets too close, then that's when we pause, think, gather, and do that again. So that's the same thing with changes. You want to be the farther ahead you are, the more creative you can be. Because improvisation is just it's just really quick composition. And so imagine if you had all the time in the world to create the perfect solo, you know? That's what composition is. And so what it is just being ahead. So you take rhythm changes, you just know what's coming beforehand. So this just it just has to be just like clockwork. And once you do that, then you have to connect the scales with what you know is coming. So if you can say out loud B flat, G, C, F, B flat, you know what they are, but yeah, now you have to connect your fingers with that. So it takes some time if you're just starting out to just know all the options of each chord and be able to just kind of flow through it through repetition. So lots of repetition. And eventually you'll get faster. We're human, we're going to learn. So repetition will allow you to hit those jazz changes over all those standards over and over and over again. I used to play, I grew up in Georgia, so I didn't really have a lot of people around me playing. So I had the Abersalds, and I would just be playing the songs over and over and over again.
We have another question about Murad. He say, how diatonic should I play? I sometimes find my playing kind of boring. How can I make my playing more interesting?
Well, there's a lot of answers to that. I say that once, number one, you listen to music that you want to sound like or that you really like. That's number one. And once all of those sounds are in your head, then you can kind of abandon that and you try to play what you hear. That's the main. That's the main thing. And if you feel like what you're hearing is very boring, then you can kind of do like a focused study on the music that you like and listen to it and say, why do I like this? What is it? And you'll be like, oh, now I know what that is. And then you can incorporate that into your playing. Then you go to the technical side of it. Um, there are a lot of options if you're talking about how diatonic should I play. Passing tones are like very common, just the passing tones. And passing tones can be quick, and passing tones can be longer. So it's like just the difference between doing like when I go. Just kind of, and then you can like the resolutions can be much longer. The passing tones can be longer. So if I'm just doing a 2-5-1 in concert B flat, or I could do. I just did like half steps, which gave it a different vibe. So half step up or half step below, go into it, or intervals. Intervals are connect with people, so you can kind of time it to your resolution. That's whole steps, timing it. As opposed to your 2-5-1. Intervals. So I did whole steps, and then you could do it with minor thirds. You could do it with half steps. There's different ways to go about changing the feel, changing the colors. That just instead of just the boring, you know, you know, just the different vibes.
Okay. We have a question from Anne. She asked, when possible you will be back with Gregory Porter?
Yeah, I want
That's
to.
complicated.
I really want to. I'm in this New York apartment now. So many long months. They said that everything is canceled for 2020, and we still don't know for sure what's happening in 2021. Hopefully, as you know, this the music is probably going to be the last thing to come back. So, if we get this vaccine happening, I'm hoping maybe we'll have something maybe by next summer, maybe.
Yeah, we hope so too.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. Just hoping. But all I do, what I do know is, when it does come back, it's gonna be euphoric. It's gonna be amazing. It's just gonna be such a celebration, um, and I can't wait. Because everybody needs it. It's gonna be so beautiful.
Yeah, we're waiting for it too. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I remember, like last time, I think we met like at least 4 times in a year,
Mm,
and this year we just see
yeah.
each other at NAM, and then all was like cancelled. So
Right.
just
Right. Right.
yeah,
Exactly. I see some. Are you checking the Instagram questions as well?
yeah. Rafael is checking the Instagram usually.
Okay.
Yeah, like so we have a lot of questions still. Can you explain how you go about melodic lines in your improvisation and overall playing? So you kind of yeah,
Yeah.
already talked about that. If you want to add something or
Yeah. No. The melodic lines and
yeah,
improvisation. Um, yeah. Yeah. You just playing what's in your head. What's in your head just really that's when a lot of things changed for me. Was when I was like, I trust my upbringing and the music that I heard growing up, and that is what's gonna inform your musical decisions and your sound. And so if you could just submit to that, submit to the sounds and what you would like. I imagine sounding like this. I imagine I want to play this, you know. So you combine that with all of the information that how music works. How does harmony work? What are the scales? What are some patterns, some cool combinations of things? And but then number one comes what you hear, singing, singing what you hear, and then each side, like the what you hear and the technical side, they work together, and they both of them bail you out. You'll get stuck technically, then you'll be like, hey, all else fails, just sing, you know. And then at the same time, you're singing, and then something happens, and it's like very weird, and you don't know what's going on. And then you say, "Let me turn on the technical brand." Oh, I know what that is. Okay, word. And then you just move with it. Mm-hmm. Number one is what you hear in your head.
yeah. So we have another question from Instagram. How do you go about color hearing?
Um, I mean, that's all. That's always been with me. A lot of people don't necessarily understand it because they don't hear, they don't actually see colors. But
Mm.
that's a huge part of just what's happening in my brain. Um, but if I could, but that doesn't mean that everyone doesn't. It can be a metaphor as well. It's pretty literal for me, but it's definitely a metaphorical way of thinking. Um, I don't know if you've had the experience where you're hearing something and then you could just feel that it went from 5 to 1. It's like a feeling, and or there's a sound. You get more technical. There's a sound. You're like, oh, that's Lydian, or that's a Lydian dominant, or something like that. Though that feeling is kind of like the colors. It's the feeling that you have, and when you play that bright Lydian sound or a dark minor major sound or something like that. That's what they use in film scoring and movies to set the mood. They set the mood with colors. And so color hearing, I feel like, is just your ability to recreate the feelings that you have, to demonstrate that. And you know, I think film scores have a lot of that in their in their arsenal. But it's important that also improvisation, that we know what's going on, and when we're composing for instrumental music or whatever music, that we have a good understanding of of, how the different textures and different harmonies make people feel, and that's like the colors. So when it's just like when you have a red, a nice contrast is a green, and that's the same thing that happens within the music as well. When you have a, you know, that's why when 251, it's like it's a bright, dark, and then bright. That's a 251. And you have that colors. So that's kind of a quick explanation, for people who don't actually. I see the rainbow. I see the rainbow in my mind.
We have a question from Jason. He say, how do you go about incorporating ideas from transcriptions? How do you make that language a part of your own?
It's a From my experience, I have not done many transcriptions at all, but the few that I have done really, really shaped my foundation of who I was as an improviser, honestly. And that's Sonny Rollins, Sonny Stitt. Early on was Joshua Redman, Chris Potter. Um, so the way that you have to allow the things that you like from the transcriptions, you have to allow it to seep into your playing on a subconscious level. So you don't want to necessarily play back what you learned, because honestly, I know a lot of people who do tons of transcriptions, and what all that really is you're just become a classical player where you memorize the songs, you memorize the solo, you can play it back, and you can use your own expression and play it beautifully, but that doesn't necessarily translate into your own improvisation. It becomes a classical piece where you learn their piece, and it's a virtuosic accomplishment. So it's important to find the little snippets in there that really resonate with you, and really understand, like, why does this sound so good? Why does it feel so good? And you start to take concepts as opposed to specific lines, So, like, take this line. Like, if I were to transcribe that, it's like, okay, so I started out. What was that point when I got to that other part? So, what is that? What is that? Stop that. You're like, okay. Oh, I see. I was just playing, you know, F sharp minor. So this first chord C minor, and then I go and play an F sharp minor before I resolve. Why does an F sharp minor work on an F7 chord? You know, like, you have to understand why that works, and not just play it because it sounds good and feels good, but play it because you understand it. And so you have to get deep into harmony and understand, like, oh, F sharp minor is just that's part of the alter scale. So it's like a substitution. So it's like, you know, so that's F sharp melodic minor. So you can play. You understand why it works as opposed to just knowing that it does work. That's about it.
Okay. We have a question from Carmine. So, Tivon, you did a great album. I bought my copy, and I am just curious if you have a personal favorite one and why.
I do. I do. Um, my personal favorite is Galatians 5:22. Um, it's not necessarily the one that people are listening to the most. People are listening to, if I may say so myself, and Celery Juice, you know. But this one resonates with me because um, that this is the first orchestration that I did for the album, and it was so fresh and new to me. In the process, I was just discovering parts of myself that I didn't know existed, and along with the purpose of writing this music for the people and creating community and healing and and well-being and encouraging people to have hope and treat themselves with love as they treat others with love, you know. So that is all like mushed into this song with so much passion because that was the first piece that I wrote. And so Galatians 5:22 is a scripture of the for the fruits of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control, and those are the things that I want everyone to remember as we go through these tough times and as we help others get through these tough times. So I put my heart and soul into that one. Thank you for getting the album. Appreciate it. The support.
Yeah, we have some nice comments about the album. Like Magi's Boy did say, "Congrats on Spirit Garden. What an amazing piece of art."
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
and Jason is saying you are both so great at what you do. Thank you, Jason. That's
Yeah,
nice.
truth.
Yeah.
You are good, Bala.
So we have already done 1 hour. I think we will be kicked out of Instagram soon. I have one question. If you have still have some time, Tivon, or
Yeah.
okay. So, do you ever switch up mouthpiece during a gig to fit different songs?
I've done it. I've done it before. In the beginning, but just it's just too it interrupts it too much.
Hmm.
But I want to. I definitely want to because different songs have different feelings for the colors that go along with it. I, that's the truth. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have another question on Instagram. It's how would you suggest to no, it's the same one. Like okay, I think. Do you create your own licks and how do you go about doing it?
That's great. That is the answer. That's the secret. Create. No, really, really, a secret. Like create your own licks. Once you listen to the music that you love enough, you have enough information within your own musical brain to create the sounds that you want. So when you create your own licks, it's basically everyone has licks. Everyone has things that they what they call muscle memory, and you're gonna play that over and over again. So might as well make it your own. And this is what the greats did. Charlie Parker created his own licks. Then you move on. And Coltrane, he has this major third sound. He created the licks to go with that. You'll hear him over and over again. And you keep moving up to the people of today. Even Kenny Garrett, why does he have that sound? He has his own sound with his own licks and this whole stuff. But then within that, you just kind of move on. So take your time, compose, make make something a lick that you know is going to be amazing, and do it in all keys and all registers. But make sure it's a dope lick because it's not going to leave you. So make sure it's good.
Okay. I think we have done all the questions. Do we want to add something about your album before we leave and maybe play a little thing for us?
Yeah. Well, I know nobody does CDs anymore, but I have CDs out now, and I'm soon to have some vinyls to come out as well if that's what you're into. So look out for that. I will be letting everybody know as far as that's concerned. And I just want everyone to know that I wrote this whole thing for everyone to um, to just take their minds off of all the stuff that's going on right now. And I hope that it gives you some time to just kind of let go, let your proverbial hair down. So thank you guys. I appreciate the support.
Thank you, Tivon. We have a message from Elijah and Eddie. Hi, guys. It was nice to have you on the live too. And yeah, just a little last lick for us before we leave.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Great. We actually have a great last question for you. Like, where do we buy the CD?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
coming out soon.
Okay. So yeah, we'll let you know.
Amazon. Yeah, Amazon is I did it backwards. I have everything released and then the CDs, but it's coming. It's coming. If you like it, just know that it's gonna be on Amazon very soon, and I'll let people know.
Okay. Can we get it on your website maybe, or?
Yeah, eventually you'll be able to get it on my website, and other places as well.
Yeah, please let us know when it's ready, so we will share it also on our social media, so people will know.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you everyone who tuned in from the live. We had a lot of people tonight, so that was great. And yeah, so Tivon, hope we can see you soon, like in France, maybe next year.
Looking forward to it. I will be there as soon as we can.
Yeah, I know. I need to go back to New York too. So. Yeah, have a great day. People have a great night, or it depends where you are in the world. But have a great whatever, and see you soon. Yes. And please, everyone, listen to the beautiful CD of Tivon and buy it when it's ready.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tivon.
Alrighty. Peace.
Bye.